yelling at your child may seem convenient and very easy when it comes to disciplining them when they are little, but it has long term effects, and the effects are profound on the children. And when they grow up, they carry those same traits as their parents. Children with the age between 2 to 7 years of age are at pre-operational stage. That means they are egocentric. They cannot take another person's perspective. In the night when my kid was about to sleep, I did this for 5-10 days, and something which transformed my life. Within 5 to 10 days, I could see her moderating her behavior in front of her friends.
Friends, and welcome to our channel Indian Intellectual. It's great to be connected with you every time. So in case you have not subscribed to our channel right now, I would request you to press the subscribe button and also click on the bell icon so that you get notification as and when we are uploading new videos. Thank you for your support. So guys, in today's episode of Learning with Lalit, we are going to talk to Miss Apurva on the subject of parenting. So Apurva is an engineer by profession, and she has also published her first book recently, which is about the subject of parenting. So her book is titled as The Visionary Parent. So let's get connected with her and get the wisdom nuggets from the author herself. Hi Apurva, and welcome to our show, Learning with Lalit. And let me welcome you on behalf of our viewers to our channel, Indian Intellectual.
Thank you so much, Lalit. Thank you so much for inviting me to this discussion, and I'm really glad we made this happen. Thank you.
Yeah, and before we start, let me congratulate you on your book, which is finally published. And I'm just awed with the topic itself, the title of the book, Visionary Parent, and that is going to be the discussion point through which we would try to get some nuggets, wisdom nuggets from your side, and help our viewers know about the book, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great, Apurva. So before we start the discussion, why don't you tell us a brief background about yourself? Who is Apurva? And so let's get started.
Absolutely. So my name is Apurva Tare Yadwadkar, and I am a full stack developer by profession and a parenting coach by passion. So I completed my engineering in electronics and telecommunication in the year 2012, and since then I've been working in IT industry, and so I am a complete Mumbaikar. I am born and brought up in Mumbai, and so in 2014 I got married to this lovely human, and in the year 2017 I had my kid. So that was a game changer for me. So back in college days, right, I was always very keen towards learning human psychology. I would always introspect about how a human behaves, or I would just get lost in those thoughts, like why does a human behave in certain situations in certain ways. And my college friends usually would call me a philosopher. So my ideal spot would be, like, I'm a Mumbaikar, so I love beaches, I love seashore. So my ideal spot would be in front of the seashore, sitting with friends, having a cup of tea, and discussing life topics, life, death, and everything about this whole universe, right? So that was my favorite topic and favorite subject to even talk about. I never had a formal education in psychology, but I always had that inclination towards it. So, but then it really got to me when I had my first kid. Okay, it started when I was pregnant, and that's when the real, my education towards psychology really started. And I would like to share a lot of experiences, a lot of stories which I have experienced throughout this journey, as in when we go. So that's about me. I am a classically trained singer. I have won national level awards as well in Maharashtra. And my hobby is reading and writing. So I love reading and I love writing. So yeah, that's about me. That's that's all about me.
Yeah, you. So what I understand, you are an engineering with a creative bent of mind. So while
Yeah,
engineering involves more of technical stuff, but your
yeah.
passion is towards creative stuff, so which includes writing, which includes studying psychology, and the other stuff which you are doing. So awesome, and you wear multiple hats. That's good to know. So you are a person
Thank
of
you.
many talents. Great to know you. So Apurva, now coming to your writing journey. So,
Yeah.
would you like to share with us what inspired you to venture into the field of writing and then write a book?
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. So, like since the start, since childhood, I was a very good writer. As in, I would get 100% marks in my essays in English subject, and my teacher would always appreciate me for my the structure of the essays. I would write it in such a way that my teachers would really, were in awe of me. So, but being a parenting coach and writing a book entirely on 142 pages book was never even a dream. Like I never even thought that I would write to such a level. But when I become a parent, right? So my journey of writing started when I actually ventured into this new role, right? In 2016, when I was pregnant, me and my husband, we both did this Garbha Sanskar. For viewers who are outside India, Garbha means the womb of the mother, and Sanskar means all the values and belief system that we carry, and that we, the ancestral values that we carry, and we just give it to our kids, right? So that Garbha Sanskar, I learned a lot in that. So I'd like to share a fascinating fact. I don't know if you know it, but uh, the first heartbeat of the child and the first neuron of the brain of the child is developed on 21st day of conceiving.
Oh,
That's the day when
mm,
the child has started learning. The neurons are developing, the heartbeats are developing, and that's when the child also perceives everything. The child is learning mother's tongue, the child is learning mother's voice, father's voice, the family's voice, and the child is learning a lot of things. And that's when I started to do a lot of things. I started to do some creative things like weaving or making small little cushion dolls, and I did a lot of stuffs, and I started reading a lot of books, mythological books. And it's really fascinating for me that the first book that I started reading during my pregnancy was Ramayan, and the birth of my child is on the day of birth of Ram Navami.
oh,
And
wow.
that's something which I really, it's very close to my heart. And recently we also celebrated her birthday, fourth birthday, and that was the day when my book was also launched. And writing, so let's come to writing. Okay, when I became a parent first, I so I had all those ideas. I'm all set. I know what parenting is all about. I've seen my parents doing that, so I know it. But when I became a parent, I understood that it's not just about keeping your child well fed, well prepared. Make sure of everything. Make sure the child is learning. Make sure the child is studying properly. Make sure of everything. It's not. But when I actually introspected, when I actually went through it, I understood that parenting is a lot more than just that. And what learnings I got is, the very first thing is, parenting is all about knowing yourself deeply first. Until
Right.
and unless you know yourself deeply first, it doesn't matter how you parent your child. You are just going to, take those ancestral imprints and then just going to give it to your child, until and unless you know your values, you know your internal beliefs. And that's when I realized that there are so many parents sailing in the same boat as me. And I wanted to spread this awareness. I saw so many parents, I have seen my friends or even my colleagues, they would just give into the threatening situations, and they would yell at their children for not listening to them, for being mischievous, and for being all over the place, right? And that's when it just clicked me that this is something I want to spread. I want to empower 1 million parent child relationships. So that is my mission statement. But that's when I started writing. And my book is not just about how to do, what to do, about those stuffs, but it is actually a journey that you take, about knowing yourself deeply first, and then parenting your child. You first parent yourself, and then you parent your child. So that's about my writing journey. And now luckily and fortunately, my book is up in Amazon. So I'm really very thankful to God, and my family members, of course, who supported me in this journey. And it's a like one in a million feeling.
Yeah,
Thank you.
truly. So writing a book is, like that kind of a feeling. So you became mother once in 2017, and now it's again because it's like your baby. Your book is also like your baby because you
Yes,
nurture.
yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it takes time to nurture it, and then finally it comes out. So what I understand from your discussion is once you became parent and you went through that journey, that is what inspired you to write. So you were good in writing anyways, as in your growing up years, so which I can understand. But becoming a parent helped you to spread that message. So once you have gone through that journey, so you thought that let's inspire others so that they are also more aware, and rather than just the conventional parenting where you just shout
Yes.
and let the people do, let the kids do on a threatening way. Right. So I
Yeah.
understand that. Yeah. So in your case, parenting, becoming a parent inspired you to write. So that's how we see it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, the title of your book is also very, very interesting. So the visionary parent. So what do you mean by a visionary parent? Because every
Okay.
parent has
So
some vision for their kids. All parents are visionary. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So let me just walk you through how I decided this name and how it came to be. So earlier days, right, when I became a mother, I wasn't always like, thinking about the child's future or thinking about what. So I have been there. I have yelled at my child. I have hit her. I have done that. And so uh, whenever I would yell, so as I said, right, I would give in to my threatening situations. So even yelling is a form of violence. Like it's a form of defense mechanism, rather. For parents, it's a defense mechanism because we perceive certain threats from our kids. So
Right.
be the kid is mischievous or anything it may be. So when that used to happen, this completely goes to my husband. Okay, whenever I would yell at her or shout at her for doing some mischief, my husband would ask me such questions which would actually make me think about my internal beliefs, about my own thought process. And so when I started to introspecting about myself, introspecting about what gets me, gets my anger going, or what gets me happy, or when I just introspected about myself, that's when I understood that yelling or aggression is something which it comes by default to us. I think
Yes.
it's because of the notion that we carry, that the kids are always capable of destroying anything and everything they get hand at. But then eventually I started introspecting more about myself. And then I realized, like I said, then I realized that parenting is not about just about making sure of everything, of making them do things as our own will, but it's more about knowing yourself deeply first. So that's when I realized that this is something you need to have a long term view about parenting. You need to have a long term view. So the visionary parent is is a parent who would have a bigger picture in his eyes. Like he would see the bigger picture even in the little things. So what makes them unique is that even in little things they can see the bigger picture, right? So how many times does it happen that the child is doing mischief, the child is not listening to us, and we attach ourselves to the outcome of their decisions,
Yeah.
and then we start yelling, then we start shouting at them. And that's what this the visionary, the name is because of my husband. I've named it because according to me, he is a visionary. He knows, like, he will he will tell you that this is something which, and he will not tell you that this is wrong, you did this or that. He will just ask questions which would make you to question your behavior at that moment. So that's why I named this as the visionary parent. But yeah, I want so that's what my mission is. I want to build a generation of parents who understand what is right rather than who is right. And
Okay.
they are actually capable of perceiving or understanding that they are able to choose the right and the difficult rather than what is convenient and easy. Yelling at your child may seem convenient and very easy when it comes to disciplining them when they are little, but it has long term effects, and the effects are profound on the children. And when they grow up, they carry those same traits as their parents. So that's what this book is all about, and the visionary parent is all about. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
you
you for
have,
the question.
yeah, you have very rightly said. Uh, so what I understand is the normal recourse is to react on a situation, and here we are talking about responding instead of reacting. That is one. Second is, while you are, nurturing your kids in their growing up years, instead of reacting to the situation, think about the future consequences and and respond accordingly. So that is what my
Yes.
takeaway from a visionary parent is, that mostly we react as per the situation. So whenever they are
Yes.
doing some mistake, we react it, and yeah, it happens and comes naturally, as you very rightly said. But instead of that, think, respond, and keep in mind the consequences of this as they are growing now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right, right. And by any chance, is your husband a coach? Because coaches ask a lot of questions. Because I
No,
come from that
but he's
background.
into HR. He's into
Acha.
HR. He's an HR manager.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
So
yeah,
because
he
I
has that
understand he,
inbuilt.
yeah. So he's by default a coach. So we learned it.
Yeah.
He's by default. That's great, right, right. So now, who is this book for? Is there any target age group when we are talking about parents? And who should read it?
So basically, this book is, I won't say it for everybody, because
Mhm.
there are certain, so like, as I said, this book is all about knowing yourself deeply first. So this can be done at any stage, right? So it's about, like, everyone can read it, but it will be more beneficial to new working parents.
Okay.
They don't seem to have that kind of time for their children, or like, even I am working, right? Even I am working, even my husband is working, so we have to uh, juggle these jobs and have to make it possible. So there are many nuggets that you'll get, the new working parents can get. And even the parents who have teenagers, they can also read it, because it's not just about how to parent your child, right? It's about the kind of reaction, or the kind of value system that we carry as a whole as a parent. as a human, and it's about evolving yourself as a human. So yeah.
So you have hit a bullseye with the kind of, this reader segment which we're targeting, because we have a wide population where both the parents are working. So as you yourself stated, and same is the case with me. And being the first time parents, you need to learn these things because most of us are now living in nuclear families. So that joint family system is not there, because of which now we need to learn these things. So that's awesome. I am sure, readers are going to benefit from it. And one more thing which you mentioned, and which I would like to emphasize: before parenting your child, parent yourself first. That's what you stated. Yeah. So because kids learn by observing the elders. So they observe what
Yes.
we do, and in more often than not, they just copy. So that's how,
Yes. Yes.
yeah. So that's
They
how
are
it happens.
excellent imitators. They are excellent
Imitators.
imitators. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have also a young kid, he's just 4.5 years old. So I can see that thing. So whatever you are stating, I can fully relate to it. Right. So Apurva, just tell us, while you were writing through the book, did you experience any transformation or breakthroughs for yourself during this journey?
That's an excellent question, Lalit. Excellent question. Thank you so much for asking me that. Because yes, transformation, breakthroughs, lot of transformations. I have done a lot of research. So let me
Yeah.
just share with you a research which so even in my formal education, I learned that. Um, so it is actually related to my life story with my kid, of course, and how I implemented certain strategies and everything. So let me just brief you. So what used to happen, my kid, what she is now 4 years old. So when she was like 2.5, 3, almost that much year old, she would go down with with her friend, and she would demand to be to be played according to her own will. She won't listen to anybody else for that matter. And when any of her other friends won't listen to her, she would right away throw tantrum right in the middle of the garden, right in the middle of the park. And my mother-in-law would used to take her usually now it's locked down, that's not possible, but usually takes her downstairs. So this was a recurring event. Okay, 7 o'clock in the evening she would go downstairs. 7:30 she would come back crying, and then as usual I would yell at her, I would shout at her, I would tell her that why can't you understand someone else's perspective and all. But I had to address that situation. Just yelling, just threatening, just bribing her wasn't working at all. So I did my research, I started my research. Okay, and that's when I came across this psychologist named Jean Piaget. Okay,
Okay.
he's a psychologist in cognitive growth of children development, and what he stated really changed my thought process. So the children with the age between 2 to 7 years of age are at pre-operational stage. That means they are egocentric, they cannot
Okay.
take another person's perspective. Okay, and because of which they are always thinking in their own terms. So if at all the child is having a sibling and the sibling's birthday is coming, and the child is told to pick a gift for the elder one, the child will always pick what he likes, what he perceives to
True.
be the
True.
best gift for himself, because it's egocentrism.
Yeah.
But then I also researched more. I researched about the brain part. So let me just consider this is this is your brain, and this
Okay.
is the frontal lobe. This is
Yeah.
prefrontal cortex, which is
Okay.
situated in the frontal lobe. And PFC is the last brain structure to develop in the course of evolution. Okay, so it's
Okay.
the last brain structure to develop. And let me tell you this fascinating fact of this PFC. This PFC is responsible for complex cognitive behavior. It is responsible for planning. It is responsible for judgment. I think you have written a book on productivity.
Yeah.
So planning and all that comes in
True.
that. And this PFC is responsible for all that. Moderating social behavior.
True.
And this PFC when does it develop? It starts developing at the age of 12 or 13, and it completely matures, as in it completely accomplishes the whole brain structure at the age of 25.
Okay.
So that's that. Till that time we are all learning, we are making mistakes, we are not perfect. Obviously we don't know what is planning, we don't know what is
Yes.
judgment
Yes.
and everything, right? So that brain structure is not yet developed. We throw tantrums. Why? Because that social behavior, moderating social behavior, is not yet even a part of our life. And that's when, I realized that, oh my god, my kid is not even able to understand any other perspective, she's not able to moderate her social behavior. Why am I expecting so much from her? And then
Yeah.
obviously I went to her, I apologized and everything. But then I still didn't have addressed her behavior. She would, as usual, go downstairs, she would have a tantrum, and within half an hour she would come home. Then I came across this metaphysical sciences study, which states that sleep learning is, like previously it was stuff of science, fiction, but it is
Yeah.
actually documented and it is real now. So we all know, like, we need to our mind is subconscious mind is 90% and conscious mind is
True.
10%. True. Then that's when I came across this study, and it really was a breakthrough and transformational journey for me, because that's when, I started to implement that same thing. We know that subconscious mind, we just perceive everything and then
Yeah.
make it into a permanent thing, right? A permanent, it goes into the permanent brain. So then, that's when my journey of this transformation started. I used, in the night when my kid was about to sleep, I did this for 5-10 days continuous.
Okay.
I would tell her a story uh, of a behavior which I wanted to address. Okay. And night time, it is all calm, cool, and the atmosphere is so that, you are. I would have a normal discussion with her. I would tell
Mhm.
her a story regarding that behavior, and I would tell her that, Advika, her friend's name is Advika. So Advika is your friend, and we need to take care of each other. And if we don't take each help of each others, or take care of each other, then nobody would be, willing to play. And in a soft and, calmly manner, I would say those things. And then when she dozed off, I would reaffirm those beliefs inside
True.
her. And trust me, it is recently I started reading Think and Grow Rich book. And even in that book, the author Napoleon Hill has said that he induced that thinking in his child's subconscious mind. That's when he was deaf, and that's
Mm.
when, when he continuously he uh, programmed his brain, that I am able to hear, I will be able to hear. And that's when, he was able to hear. So that's something which transformed my life. Within 5 to 10 days, I could see her moderating her behavior in front of her friends, in front of her friend Advika, and she was able to take her perspective as well. And that was kind of a breakthrough for me. And it's this is something which every parent needs to, at least practice. And now what happens, whenever I see that my child is misbehaving, or she's doing some mischief, I find that as my opportunity to teach her something valuable. And that really never fails me. She
Right.
immediately understands, and she starts to, moderating or altering her behavior in those terms. So that was kind of a breakthrough for me. And I wish that, and I hope that it continues throughout. Yeah, that's
Yeah. So
what.
these are immense breakthroughs, what I understand, because you were faced with certain problem. Then you went about researching it, applied it, something worked, some didn't work. And finally, so what I can understand, in your book, you have illustrated what actually worked for you. And then
Yes.
in most probability, if done in a right way, it should work for other parents who are facing the similar kind of problem.
Yes.
So you have mentioned
So
very
there
good
are
point, like yeah.
just one last point. So there are so many instances, right? We consistently we yell at our children to discipline them. So what if we consistently, discipline them in a cool and calm, composed way? That wouldn't that really help other parents as well?
So that again brings us to the same point: parent yourself first before parenting your child. So to react in a calm, composed way, because that requires a conscious effort. Unconsciously, default settings, it's the two things are very easy for all of us. One is to criticize and another is to react. So those comes easy. So yeah, one has to work on himself or herself before coming to that situation. And couple of other things which you stated, one was storytelling. So how to mold the behavior of a child through the storytelling, so that that is absorbed in the subconscious mind, and then he or she starts behaving accordingly, and you have seen the results for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's true. So Rich and Think and Grow Rich, that book is a gold mine. So in every aspect of our life we can see the learnings being implemented, and the good part is it was written so many years back and it still holds true.
Absolutely.
Yes. Right. So any hacks or tips for the parents which you would like to share, so that they can know that what is it in the book that they should be expecting?
I think I've shared a lot of insights of my book already.
Yeah.
But okay, let me just share 4 A's which we all know: acknowledge, appreciate, and accept. But one more A we don't know is what we don't really talk about is apologize. Apologizing your child for your own mistakes is such a profound behavior that you're modeling, because that is something which the child is also going to model and emulate that behavior. Also in future, when he or she is into that situation, he will think that okay, what would my parent do? Okay, so this is my mistake, I need to apologize. So I have seen so many parents, so many clients of mine, they do not apologize for their own mistakes. By not apologizing, what we are teaching our children is, first, that we are perfect. Second, because we are not apologizing, we are not taking the responsibility of our own actions. So how much profound is this, that we are not taking, the child is not going to take responsibility of his own actions, right? So when you emulate that behavior, the child is also going to emulate the same behavior, right? And I don't know, there is one more thing. How many of us have felt an imposter syndrome, or someone is watching me syndrome?
Yes.
Right? Where did we get this? It's all from our childhood experiences that we have gathered this. Maybe from our parents' sarcasm, threats, name calling, or taunts. So these are so when the parent is being so negative, or the parent is taunting the child. I've seen parents say that if he doesn't score well in exam, we'll just put a mobile shop for him and he'll do it for the rest of his life. So that is a profound sentence, and that makes the child question his abilities, right? And when the child is trying something new, he will always have that voice. Are you doing the right thing? Do you really want to do that? And that is what the imposter syndrome, or someone is watching me syndrome. How many times do we feel, right, that all humans face this? Okay, that even if we are posting something on social media, we'll think it twice, that okay, what will others think about us? What will others think about me if I post this? So where did this belief come from? This belief comes from our childhood experiences with our parents, some or the other thing that parent might have said. Okay, so that is a very profound, and that's what even in the book I have given some exercises to the parents, so that it's like a self introspection book. You can introspect, you can actually be in that child's shoes, and realize that this is something which I do not resonate, so I'm not going to do that, or this is something which I completely resonate and I will follow this, right? So it's not like a perfect you will not get a perfect manual, right? Because we don't come with manual, right? We don't come with instructions like this is what we have to do, this is what it's a trial and error thing. And people who can really follow through the book and follow through the exercises, I think, and if they benefit from it, then I think nothing like it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what I understand in a sense, what we're talking about is practice what you preach. So you are doing something and expecting the child to do another thing, that's not going to happen. So that might happen at your workplace and other states where the people listen to you because of your authority. But kid is different. So he's not going to listen to you. He or she is going to replicate what you do. So practice what you preach.
Exactly.
That's the essence.
Exactly.
Great. So I am very much excited, Apurva, by all your insights, what you have shared. And yeah, I'm gonna get my copy of the book right away. And for viewers, yeah, I am sharing the link of the book, The Visionary Parent by Apurva, in our description box. So if you are excited the way I am, so just go ahead and get your copy now. And I can tell you that's it's a very niche kind of a segment, and we don't have many books in the contemporary period which have been written about this subject. So Apurva, you have done a great job. So compliments to you.
Thank you
so much. Thank you very much for coming on to the show and sharing these insights. It was a pleasure talking to you, and all the best for your author journey.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lalit.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.